Peace family. So I'm back with another one. Today what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk to my chosen ones about how being more direct will eliminate all of the manipulation tactics. Being more direct. It's crazy because you would think from us being young, learning how to be direct, to ask what we want, what can we have, what can we do, where can we go. You would process or think that it would get easier the older we get. And it becomes worse. It's almost like people become more sensitive. They realize it's more eggshells on the ground. Soon as you walk outside in the house, you know, it's just eggshells everywhere. But if you want to keep your energy at a peaceful, productive, steady rate, you're gonna have to be more direct. I never really understood this when I was young, transitioning into this phase, because I've always been direct my whole life. One, because I'm a male and I was raised differently. We grew up fighting, so if somebody said something you didn't like, you address it. It goes however it goes from there, you know what I mean? No different than me and my brother playing the game. I could cry about him cheating or doing some weird stuff, but at the end of the day, it's like, that's my big bro. I choose to get on the game with him, so I'll figure out how to manage and maneuver so I can win the next time we play. But being more straightforward and direct helps so much with anybody and everyone that you have to engage with and deal with out here in this realm of reality. One huge one for me was once I got out of my mom's house and I started living life for me, the universe. I just wasn't under my mom's rules and roof anymore. And I had to experience a lot of people who just did not want to answer direct questions. They had an extremely hard time with this. And it took me a nice long while before I even decided to dive in to try to comprehend, why does everyone tend to juke around or start dancing? As soon as you ask them a question, they start dancing. It's like, bro, I ain't even turned the music on. Chill. Stop dancing, answer the question, then we could probably turn some music on and start dancing from there. When you are being direct with people, anyone, one thing about communication and what we learned in this Western society is we know what a question is, we know what a statement is. So when people are intentionally avoiding questions, answering questions with a question, not responding to a question, throwing out their own statements, when people throw out their own statements, it's like them reaching over and trying to turn your driver wheel. You know what I mean? From the passenger seat. And we know how crazy that can be if you allow somebody from the passenger seat to start turning your wheel for you. Understanding these things, it will save you so much time in the short-term engagements with dealing with jobs, bosses, people, places, things. What it puts you in a state of is removing more fears. It puts you in a state of removing more fears. Because when you being direct with people, places, locations, and things like this, you know that is a possibility that you may not never engage with this being again. It could go completely south. You know that you could possibly lose your job engaging with your boss or certain employees a certain way, being extremely direct with them. That's the beauty in riding with the creators. Even when we have to experience those things, we know that our start over position is not that far away. I done had to start over so many times in life, it's become regular. Like when I was a teenager, going into my early 20s, I realized I'm my most comfortable when I'm uncomfortable. Anytime I'm too comfortable, I feel like I'm in the middle of a storm and something is transpiring around me. I just haven't felt the cause and effect of it yet. So then that's when I start creating scenarios and implementing things to keep that uncomfortability at the tip. Not saying that, oh, I'm not in a peaceful state, because I'm extremely peaceful even when I'm uncomfortable. Uncomfortable for me just means that I'm always on alert. Uncomfortable for me means that I'm always on alert. I'm always processing a few steps ahead. I play chess. I am extremely good at chess. Like this part in here, to infinity and beyond. You know what I mean? But when I start really having to engage with society, when you transitioning from parents' house or whoever raised you, there's nobody there in the middle that's kind of processing you from basically child to adult, because it's like we skip a bunch of stages when we're vibrating in this matrix. So you'll be in the house and then you just get thrown out there to the wolves. They don't tell you how to talk to like people when you got like appointments and things. We know we're supposed to be polite, but we don't really understand the kind of questions and things we're supposed to be asking and things around that time. It take you a few engagements and experiences and encounters to finally grasp the concept of it. It's still annoying to have to go and talk to like the doctor's offices and all these weird other people that just, they got a different English language. You know what I mean? Like, it's too many words and silent letters for me to even try to comprehend. What the hell is the purpose of a silent letter? To me, when I think deeper, it has something to do with the spiritual tie and energy signature to it, but at the same time, I just never cared enough to dive that far into it, because I know words are spells and spells are real. We cast them and create them every single day. But, when females is out here dealing with men, I should say males, is out here dealing with the women, this is where nobody is being directed. Everybody is always at this surface level with different intentions, but nobody wants to address it or say what their intentions are. And then for some of us highly empathetic beings, we get overly taxed for expressing certain things like that. Like in today's society, if you tell somebody you care, you show them you care, they look at you like you crazy. Completely backwards, you know what I mean? Basically, the things that you're taught when you're young and how you take care of little people, you do the complete opposite when you get older as an adult in Western society. So I had a couple situations that helped me save a lot of time and energy by just being direct. I don't like when people ask me how I'm doing, because I know at the end of the day, you don't give a fuck how I'm doing. It's a blanket statement to kind of open the door and see what kind of information I want to volunteer out to you. I'll let you know when I want to volunteer some information out there to you. But at this time, I don't want to volunteer any information out there to you. So when people start asking me, hey, how you doing? I usually try to counter with something that's not normal, that they don't usually hear other people saying. Most people are going to respond with, how you doing? Good, great, fine. How's it going? But for me, on the other hand, I like to throw people in a loop. Let this wind slow down. Shit, crazy. Between winds and airplanes, y'all just got to work with me a little bit. Y'all got to work with me a little bit. I'm gonna let it slow down because I know it be trying to chop my audio in and out. Wind, noise, cancellators, all that stuff don't matter. Until the next season, until we get out of this little phase right here, whatever they doing, this is going to be a battling process. But what I usually try to respond back with is something like, it's been peaceful and productive. I try to say different things to spark something different in them. For one, because if everybody say we're our own being, we're all different and we're all unique, then why the hell is everybody in robotic mode making all the same statements? Don't ask me how I'm doing if I'm alive. when you cannot ask me how I'm doing, then you'll be able to see how I'm doing. I done moved on to my next journey. Until then, don't ask me how I'm doing. People come around in your space talking about I just want to vibe. I just want to get to know you. When you're getting to know people, males or females, I don't care if it's best friends, y'all becoming friends, y'all becoming spousals. You have to establish something and be as direct as you possibly can be with these beings. It always throws them off once you start being direct with your questions and with your statements. And because I've cycled through a lot of people throughout my life, one, because I'm not from Virginia, I'm from New York, so I moved down to Virginia when I was like 10, 11, involuntarily from my mom's. So I had to leave a lot of friends, family behind in New York that I didn't want to and I wasn't ready for. I'm not gonna sit here and lie about it. But at that young age, it prepared me to be able to let people go whether I want to or whether I don't want to. It also was an example of how to move on through situations, past situations and beings, whether I wanted to or didn't want to. See, a lot of people always feel like you have to want to do something in order to do it. Nah, it's been plenty of people I let go throughout my life that I didn't want to, but I knew I didn't have a choice because our lifestyles just wasn't adding up together. It was too much conflict of interest. But I know when I start dealing with women now around this age range and other men, it's extremely direct. If I'm communicating with guys and I know them in my space or some new guys that's reaching out, I'm usually trying to be as direct as I possibly can. I'll be trying to save all the time and energy I possibly can. If we're gonna say time and energy is valuable, then we have to put the value on it. I probably had like 2 or 3 females trying to slide in the door, right, that I was engaging with. And because I was extremely direct, I was able to cut ties as soon as possible. And some of them, I didn't even have to cut ties because they understood that I was too direct and their manipulation tactics wasn't gonna work. It only works when you hang out in that gray area and you allow them to deter you from being straightforward. Usually with directness, it's gonna be honesty. Most of the time, for me, it just spills out. It spills out. So then I'm usually like, I'm like Santa with the bag. So I'm usually like, it want to just fall out, but I got it tied tight. And I'm like, making sure that not too much spill out at one time. It will transition your life tremendously. Tremendously. Just understanding these things. You have to start doing little things like when people say hi, don't respond back with a hi. That's generic. Come up with your own creative dialogue or your own hello, how to respond back to them. People say hi to me, I don't say hi. To me, when I think hi, I'm thinking of something high, like heights, or I'm thinking of that 420 gas. And that's not either one of the situations. So it's too many routes you can go off of one word. You can take one route, you can brainstorm it, how we was taught in school, put it in the middle bubble and create the spider legs on it, and you can have multiple angles for one word. Soon as I start understanding more about what was going on around me, because I've always been direct. I've had people calling me a dick my whole life, you know what I mean? So, not saying everybody, just the ones who don't know how to manage or understand people who are straightforward or direct. Our game, our life is not a game, and we shouldn't be playing our life like it's a game because it's extremely serious. You have responsibilities for yourself, you got responsibilities for beings around you. It's a whole process. will feel mixed emotions when you have to separate and remove yourself from people that you didn't want to. I just always emphasize that because people always feel as though you want to remove them out your life. Oh, you want to do this, you want to do this. It's like, no, I have to. It's like when we all go to work, a lot of us don't want to go to work, but we have to go to work. You got to make money, food, water. You need all of these things to live in Western society. People say money make the world go round. No. Money make the machine stay alive. Money make the machine stay alive. Money don't make the world go around. We make the world go around. We do that. The sun do that. Nature do that. Life does that. Source does that. You can look at many parts of the world and see that they don't experience life the same way we do. One way you could tell we warped just on a lower vibration, a lower frequency is, you know, they got this thing with the passport bros. You know, people who got a couple dollars, they can fly overseas to go, you know, find another spousal partner or something like that. Most people in Western society don't even comprehend why that's a real thing. It's because most societies outside of Western societies aren't taught the same ideology. So women over on the other side of the world doesn't have this same witchy energy. I don't even want to think of another vibe to put for it. It's not a whole bunch of this I selfish shit. They are more. You know, you can find people and beings who are either women who's more nurturing. You can possibly find males who may be more masculine over there. Maybe it's not as many hormones and things in their food. You know, they don't have the same belief system. And a lot of sources, knowledge that's here and that's been passed through us, we don't have a system in place to uphold it. The system in place upholds the demonic energy. So if source was in charge and then the system was following source, then you wouldn't walk outside and see, you know, every female sexualizing themselves to the point to where some of the little girls just grow right into it or are uncomfortable, or some of the parents sexualize the little girls. Outside of there being stores that only sell witchy clothes for little girls. I went to Target and tried to find some stuff for my daughter before, and it was like everything was like legging shorts. They were shorts. They got crop tops. I'm like, yo, I kind of missed the bell bottoms, even though they was cheesy. They just was more appropriate. Not saying that that's what they need, she needs, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, I don't want to go shop for my daughter and have to pick out whore clothes for her to showcase her while we're out in public. With me even taking that location into consideration, I was direct with the vibration in that location, and I had to shift places as far as where I decided to, or what items I would get from that store. I like Target. It's red. I'm not a fan of the blue or Wally World, but I'll go into Walmart. But as far as Target, I know that, okay, me being straightforward spiritually, I understand that don't go in here and get frustrated if you can't find anything. You know what I mean? For your mini. Look at the other items that are available. You know which ones are a little bit more appropriate. You can grab those instead. Or you could just not shop and spend with the store at all, because that's actually more beneficial to source by helping shut down one of these witchy systems that's in place. You know what I mean? I've had several breakthroughs just on the strength of being direct with people and letting them go. Because I've had witches come into my life feeling as though, oh, I'm easy to manipulate. I'm weak, or I show too many emotions. You know, I'm a man, I shouldn't show emotions. You know, I'm supposed to be heartless like Kanye West, you know. And for me, I'm like an unorthodox being, because most men don't take this stance right here, behind the scenes or publicly, but I still do all my manly duties. But I also don't have a problem being, highly intuitive and appropriate when I do decide to express my energy and emotion in a manner that seems uncomfortable for them. Because we're always experiencing an expressing our energy and emotion. It's just when you give a certain signature, that's when people say you're too emotional. If you're too happy, if you're super joyful or just like really lit, people don't tell you you're being over emotional. But being happy is an emotion. Being joyful, being lit, all of these things are still, it's part of your energy and emotion. So that's how you understand a lot of these weird word spells that they put out here and why it's so much easier. I had one conversation with somebody and they started stuttering and just juking around all over the place. Because for me, if I see something, I like it, I want to go get it. Whether it's an item at the store or whether it's a person that I'm interested in, I'll go shoot my shot. Not that big of a deal. But I'm not going to also fake it either. I'm not going to show interest, go out my way at some random location that, maybe I was just going here to eat, saw a server or something, I decided to go over and exchange my information. I'm not going to put all that energy into showing interest to pretend like I'm not interested. So when I come across situations in that manner, then that's when I have to be even more direct. And I see the way that a lot of these beings be dancing and juking around questions, which puts me in a mind state of understanding. All right, I know which playbook you're using already, but I just got to see, I got to see if you're a self-aware witch or if you're in the middle. In the middle means that you are a quote-unquote follower, or like I like to just say a robot, because robots are programmed. Those are the beings that's in the middle, which we would also call sheep. Sheep don't run around with ill intentions, they just follow the pack. So this is why I tend to open up doors and I have to be more straightforward so I can figure out, all right, I want to put the apples with the apples, I want to put the oranges with the oranges, I want to put the grapes with the grapes. This is why it's important for us to identify. Me being straightforward allowed me to only engage with this person for maybe like a couple weeks on a full extent. I had gave them my number, let's say I did it like, I gave them my number like 6 months ago. Maybe the first 2 months we really didn't even talk and engage that much. Then probably by the third month we probably start talking, engaging a little bit more. Cause in my world, I already understand every female you engage with out here, they got a male somebody close by, either a spousal, somebody they just plucking on the side, or they got male best friends. Men and women are not friends once you get past a certain level, unless you guys grew up together or they're close to you like family. Outside of that, men are not friends with women. Men are not friends with women. Men are not friends with women. You can have associates. You got plenty of associates. You can engage and build and, share knowledge and information and all that stuff. But as far as talking about just hanging out, mingling, like with dead intentions, hell no. Hell no. Once you vibrate to a certain frequency, that is null and void. What happens is none of us are really in long-term serious relationships, so then we just figure out other ways to still mingle with the opposite sex. But then you deal with some of them being, they be like, oh yeah, I don't like men. And you deal with some of these weird men, they're like, yeah man, female is crazy, female. I kind of agree with that to a small degree. But I do got some other buddies who put a lot of extra emphasis on that, to the point to where they don't even want to go out and try anymore. You know what I mean? And I just tell them as well, like, you just gotta be more direct. If you start being more direct, that means that if it's say, I had asked somebody before, hey, you trying to get up this weekend? I don't know, let me check my schedule. When you already know these beings and you know their routines and schedules, it's a runaround. That means they're trying to line you up to be option B, C, D, E, F, G. We are way too valuable over here for people to be putting us on the back burner. And it's no different with these jobs. I had a job location I was working at in the kitchen, and the guy just had this real uppity energy with him because we was at an all-boys private school in the kitchen. I don't know. I guess he had like a little bit of knowledge and information. But when he looked at me, they just always assumed that like I'm incompetent or I don't have any understanding. And then every time I open up my mouth to communicate with them as directly as possible, they get really confused and thrown off. Because in my world, I don't give a fuck about this job. I need a couple dollars, but the same way I got this job, I'll get another plantation. They got so many plantations out here, you don't even... I take that back. In 2024, you do have to put a little bit of work in for the plantations because the market is all weird. But for the most part, when I communicate with jobs this direct, when I go into interviews, I'm interviewing them. When I was younger, I used to go into interviews, them interviewing me. I don't do that shit no more. Look, this is what I can do. This is what I have available. What can y'all do for me? Can we work together? Can we figure something out? They're usually either yay or nay. But it eliminates me getting into a job and them being, you know, having this false misconception that I was just saying like, yeah, I'll bend over and do whatever you need me to do. It's not the case. I had a couple years back where it was one, I picked up like a third or fourth gig, and it was only like 2 nights out the week in another kitchen because I had a bunch of other gigs already. And I was like, yeah, I just grab a couple more dollars here too. I'll bump over and do this one too. And the supervisor thought he was gonna be able to use profanity towards me because I stepped over to the side when work slowed down to send a text message real quick. This is when I still had my BM and my little ones at the house. We were still all together, so I'm checking in, making sure the house is good. He communicated with me using this profound language, and for one, he couldn't beat me physically, so that automatically pushed me up now. Like, bro, who the fuck you talking to like this? I didn't say that to him, but that's what my energy read, because I still know how to operate and maneuver. But when he started communicating, saying that, right, instead of me saying that, I just looked at it and I hit it with, fuck it. You know what? I walked over, grabbed my stuff, put my jacket on, you know, walked clean out the job. I couldn't be any more direct with my actions that I don't tolerate that. I don't care if you was my only job that I had. I guarantee you the universe is gonna line something else up for me. I'm not gonna sit here and tolerate this because I need a couple dollars because I got a bill coming up next week and I gotta do. I don't give a fuck. I'll figure something else out. This has been my whole entire life. So I'm not gonna ever be boxed into a space to where, no. When I used to dance around and get into some of these locations or deal with some people, it would be really weird trying to transition away from that. Because now they feel as though, oh, no, this is the energy you gave in the beginning. You right to a degree, but I had different intentions why I gave that energy. This is why we have to start being as direct as possible. We direct when we ordering food, right? You go to a restaurant, you as direct as you possibly can be. So we got to take that same energy and apply it to our spousals, our peers, friends, our family, all of the above. You know, some people talk to people and ask them how they doing and have these generic conversations, but you won't ask them for help. You called somebody because you really need help, but then you didn't muster up the energy properly to ask them for help, and now you've been stuck on the phone having a dumbass conversation that you weren't even trying to have in the beginning. I would rather push through that fear, because the worst thing that could happen is they say no. Push through the fear. Oh, okay, no, all right, boom. Now you carry on with the conversation. Now you carry on with the conversation. Now you carry on. Because now you already know where this person is sitting at, and you already know that they aren't really that invested in you, and now that the conversation that you're having is a waste of time. So if you choose to waste your time, it's all by choice now because you just signed up for it. You've already asked your questions. Now you don't want to seem like a prick by asking your questions and getting right off the phone. You give them a little bit of energy to kind of balance it out, and then you get up out the way. You know what I mean? Your directness, it's hard to be direct without being honest. It's hard to be honest without being direct. These two go hand in hand together, you know what I mean? But I ain't want to run it up too long. Weather has been beautiful outside. I was filming at the lake, my last one, and my battery died, and then I couldn't find my charger. The other battery was like dead because, you know, I'm a one-man army, so if I take a day off, if I slip, if I fall, I'm gonna get taxed for it. I already understand these things, but this is part of my transition and cycle right now. So when I get to the next transition, everything is gonna, each time I transition is getting more organized. So let's say I start off, my organization was probably like a 30, 40. I done got my organization up to about a 60, 70 now, you know what I mean? I'm still missing about 20, 30%, but it's on the way, you know what I mean? I got a lot of battles that I'm out here fighting and facing. You know, I got my mini who I'm fighting for me and I'm fighting for her. You know, I got my own shit that I've been through that I'm still knocking off the edges, you know, trying to get all that lingering energy off of me. Just a whole lot of things that's in place, you know what I mean? But y'all already know the vibes, you know. We're gonna stay consistent, we're gonna keep grinding, we're gonna keep putting this work in. And if you can, get your workout in outside in nature. That was the only reason why I happened to be like this, because when my battery went out, I just said, I'm gonna drop by the house, drop my battery on the charge, and I went to my other trail that I go to get my workout in. And I knew my battery would be done by then, so then I just went back to the house, scooped my battery, came back out so I can knock this down, because I got a few more things I gotta do, and I am all behind on time right now. But, you know, it's Sunday. It's the day of the sun, you know. But I ain't wanna run it up too long. Tapping everything down below. Peace and love to the kings and queens.